Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF, Bava Metzia, DAF Pei Daled. We are holding on Pei Gimel and Beis on the very last line. Vaf Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yesi, Mata, Ki Haima Asal Yade. This connects to yesterday's DAF. We learned that Rabbi Lezer, the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai actually, was appointed by the king to be the local sheriff. He would pursue and arrest all types of criminals, and he was a bit concerned that perhaps he incriminated innocent individuals. So he proceeded to do that test on his body, which proved that he was actually of very high spiritual standing, which put him at ease. Rest assured that, he was doing the right thing. Says the Gemara, he wasn't the only one in that position. Vaf Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yesi. He was also appointed as sheriff. Ki mota ki hai masal yade. Rashi says, Mino hamelach litfais ganav belistim. The king appointed him to be the sheriff to arrest thieves and robbers. Palga be'elyo. One day he meets up with Elyo Navi, who had something to tell him. Amar lei ad masai. Until when are you going to continue doing this? Ad masai ata meiser amai. Apparently some of these robbers were Yidden. Ad masai ata meiser amai shel elokeinu la'ariga. Until when are you going to continue passing on members of our nation to the king for killing? Amar lei, he says, what should I do? I'm stuck. My avid hermana de malko. I'm doing this as per the king's orders. Amalei says, okay, so you have a choice in the matter. You can run away, escape. Avuch arak la'asya, just like your father. When he ran into the something with the authorities, he ran off to a place called Asya. To you, arik, run away, lelutkia, to Lutkia. Okay, so that ends this part of the story. And once we mentioned Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yesi in the context of Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon, the Gemara will mention another anecdote which relates to both of them. They were both physically large, heavy. Kim havu mikli. When these two Tanoim would encounter each other face to face, kavu mikli, Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yesi, and also the other Tanoim, Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon, Badi Adadim, they would stand face to face. Their bellies were so protruding. Hava ayil bakra de turi, a pair of oxen would be able to pass beinayu between them, underneath their bodies, without touching them. That's how much their bellies were protruding. It created this sort of arch to allow these animals to go through. So this non-Jewish noble woman addressed them. B'neichem einam shalachem. Look, apparently your children don't belong to you, Rashi says, because of your physical size. It makes it, very difficult to be in close physical proximity with your wife. So apparently your children are not yours. Rashi says, einam shalachem she'einchem yicholim lizakek l'nshasechem. Amrullah, so they responded to her in kind. Shalahan gadol mishelanu. That their bellies, our wives, are larger than ours. So that was their response. So basically, it's not just about us; it's about them as well. And apparently, they figured something out to make it happen. So, Kolshkein, so she responded. Well, if anything, that makes it more of a question. How does this work? So Ikad Amri. So some say Hachi Amrullah. They told her the pasuk Ki ish gevurasai, that the man's gevura, his aver tashmish, is proportionate to his body size. So basically, we work it out. Ikad Amri. Some say Hachi Amrullah. They responded to her that Ava, the desire and the feelings, the chekes es habasa, that does away with the issue of bodily interference, and it somehow works. Asks the Gemara, "V'lama lahu laduri la?" Why do they, even have to bother responding to her silliness? V'oksiv al ta'an kisilki ivaltei. Pasuk says, don't even respond to a silly person, to his silliness. So why do they even have to relate to her accusations that their children aren't really theirs, they're mamzerim, right, from other men? The answer is shaloi lahoitzi la'az al b'neim. In order to avert any sort of, la'az, inappropriate impression regarding their children, that in fact they didn't father their children, so in order to protect their children's record, they had to go ahead and respond to her and put her at ease, and in fact their children are legitimately theirs. Amar Rabbi Yechanan, Avrei, the Rishmon Rabbi Yesi. So the Ritva learns that the Avrei over here is referring to his muscle area along the arms or his thighs, and Taisa seems to be learning it's going the Aver of the Zachar. Aver, the Rishmon Rabbi Yesi, he was very large in size, kechemes, like a container, a leather pouch, bas teisha kabin, 9 kabin in size. He was very big physically. Amar Papa, Aver the Rabbi Yechanan. Rabbi Yechanan was a bit smaller, but also pretty large. Kechemes bas chameshes kabin, like kechemes containing 5 kab. Va'amrila, some say bashleishes kabin, or 3 kab. The Rav Papa Gufei, Rav Papa himself, also had a similar situation. Ki dekuri dar panoi, he was as big as the baskets that they make in this place called Harpanya, which was also pretty large and significant in size. Amar Rabbi Yechanan. Ano. By the way, Tesis points out that the reason why the Gemara does mention the size of the Aver, which doesn't seem to be something that we typically speak about, he says, Shaloi lahoitzi la'az. Al b'nei adam shem kach. So that if you encounter a person in a similar situation, you don't question his, the validity of legitimacy of his children. So we know that the Tanoim and Amoraim encountered similar situations. Amar Rabbi Yechanan, Ano ishtairi mishapiru Yushalayim. The members of Yerushalayim had immense beauty, and I am a remnant of the of those in Yerushalayim. I have an element of yofi, of beauty, a carryover from Yerushalayim. So even though Rabbi Yechanan, Taisa says, was many years after the Churban, but he was from he was a member of a Yerushalayim mishpacha, and that beauty carried over to him as well. Hayman, now how beautiful was he? Hayman de boy merci. If a person wants to get an idea, want to imagine Shufrei de Rabbi Yechanan, the beauty of Rabbi Yechanan, what does he do? Nesi kasa de kaspa, maybe a salki. Get a hold of a freshly minted silver goblet, silver kais, maybe silky, right out of the fire, out of the furnace, when it's really shiny, and Rashi says tzohaiv, some sort of like a reddish tinge to it, right out of the fire. So it's whitish, reddish, beautiful. Partzida, he fills it up with these pits, partzidaya de rumna, some red pomegranate. So he fills it with stark red content. V'nahadele klila, and he surrounds it with a little branch. Devar de sumka, of a red, of a red rose bush. So he gets like a branch of red roses. Lepume, he puts it around the mouth, the opening of this kli. And he takes this silver goblet, puts it between the sun and the shade, where the color is very discernible. Hahuzaruri. So the glance, this sort of reddish, beautiful reddish glance, which you'll see on the, shining off, glancing off, reflecting on the floor, me'ein shufet Rabbi Yechon is but a glimpse of what Rabbi Yechon's beauty really was. And he says the Gemara, really? Rabbi Yechon had that element of beauty. V'amar Mar, we have learned. Shufrei de Rav Kahana, we have a whole long list, and there's no mentioning Rabbi Yechon. Shufrei de Rav Kahana, the beauty of Rav Kahana, ve'ein shufrei de Rabbi Avo, was but like a percentage, something which resembled the beauty of Rabbi Avo, who was much more beautiful. Shufrei de Ravo, the beauty of Rabbi Avo was me'ein shufrei de Yaakov Avinu, resembled Yaakov Avinu's handsomeness. Shufrei de Yaakov Avinu was me'ein shufrei Adam Rishon. So the chain goes from Rav Kahana to Rabbi Avo to Yaakov Avinu to Adam Rishon. Rabbi Yechonon like a chashivle. But we don't mention Rabbi Yechonon. Why not? If in fact he had that element as well. Answer is Shani Rabbi Yechonon the hadras panam lehavale. For some reason Rabbi Yechonon did not have a beard. Perhaps it just didn't grow naturally. It wasn't a full beard. So in any case, he didn't have hadras panam, which adds beauty, and that's why he's not mentioned in this list. But in any case, he had the element of shufra, of beauty from Yerushalayim. In fact, Rabbi Yechonon have a ozol v'yoshev ashar tzvila. He wanted that the newborn children in Klal Yisrael should have this quality as well. So you know what he used to do? He positioned himself. He sat by the entrances of the mikvahs where the woman would go. Amar, he says like this: Ki yisalkam neisishol mitvilas mitzvah. When the Jewish women would ascend from being tevel, from the tumah, livku bi, I want them to encounter me, sitting there, notice me, so that my image should be sort of embedded in them, and they would have that in the mind. And in fact, when they proceed and have children, this way they'll have children with my beauty, children that are imbued with Torah like me. So that's what he used to do. Rabbanan asked him, you're sitting there and you're in full view of the crowds. I mean, you're not afraid that people are going to, sort of have, an element of jealousy on you, etc. And the ayin hara might affect you. Amarlu, he says, no, I'm not affected by evil eyes. I'm a descendant of Yosef, Hatzadik, who's beyond the reach of ayin hara. T'chsev bein poiras Yosef, bein poiras ali ayin. So Yaakov Avinu describes Yosef as something beyond the reach of the evil eye. V'amaravo. How do we learn this pasuk? Al tikri oile ayin, instead of reading it ali, right? Ali ayin, ela oile ayin, above the eye. Rabbi Yosef Chanin Amar Mehacha, another source for this idea that Yosef and his descendants are out of the reach, beyond the reach of ayin hara. V'yidgal aroy b'kerva aretz. They multiply like fish in the depths. Ma dagmu shabiyam, mayim machasam oisam. Just like fish at sea are totally covered by the water, and therefore they're beyond the reach of ayin hara, which only affects things which are visible and noticeable. But when it's hidden, it's not susceptible to ayin hara. That's why you find so many fish, because the fish just multiply, because they're beyond the reach of the eyes. Av Zare Shal Yosef, Eino Ayin Shal Behen. Likewise, Yosef and his descendants have a perpetual bracha because they're beyond the reach of the ayin hara. Okay, one day, Havakasachi Rabbi Yechon b'Yardin. Rabbi Yechon was taking a swim. Interesting. He was taking a swim in the Yarden, the river Yarden. Chazi Rish Lakish. So Rish Lakish, who, as Rashi says, at that time was a listim, was a robber. He actually was the head of the robbers. So you notice Rabbi Yechon swimming in the river. V'shavar liyarden abasrei. So he jumped straight into the Yarden, to catch up to Rabbi Yehuda. Amar Leis Rabbi Yehuda, upon seeing this really significant expression of gevura, of strength, of energy, this huge jump, he says to him, you know what, a pity that you use the energy for what you're doing, for your robbery, career. Take your kayach, your energy, and channel it to good things, to Torah. Start learning. So Rabbi Rish Lakish took it like as a tease, and he says to Rabbi Yehuda, Shufach l'nash, your beauty belongs to women. Amar Leis, Rabbi Yehuda wasn't taken, and he responded, you know what? Make a deal. If you go back, if you do teshuvah, if you cut the robbery, and you come and learn, you know what? I'll give you my sister as a wife, and she's even more beautiful than me. Rish Lakish took the deal, he accepted the offer, and at that point, because he was mekabel on himself the yoke of Torah, he committed himself to a life of learning Torah. Now he wanted to swim back to shore to get his clothing. He couldn't make it back. Rashi says, as soon as he was mekabel upon himself the commitment to immerse himself in Torah, that affected an instant weakness on his body. Okay, in any case, somehow he made it back, and he joined Rabbi Yehuda, the Beis Medrash, who became his Rebbe and taught him from scratch. Hadar, Akraye, he taught him, the Chumash, the Tanakh, Vesnaye, he taught him the Halachas, the Mishnayos, Veshavi, Gav Rabban, he fashioned him into a major success, a big Talmud Chacham. So one day, I have a maflik b'midrash. There was this raging dispute in the Beis HaMedrash. Mishnah says, Hasayif, Vasakin, all these weapons, right? Sword and a knife, a pigin, a mini, a spear, a roimach and a spear, umagal yad, a small sickle, umagal kotzer, a full-size sickle. At what point are they considered, a finished product, which makes them susceptible to tumah? If they touch tumah, they become tummy. Mishas Gmar Malachtan, when they're completed, when they're a finished product. Now, what constitutes a finished product, right? At what stage, right? There was a machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda, the Rebbe, and Rish Lakish, the Talmud. Rabbi Yehuda Amar Mashiyitzarfsim B'Kivshin. Once they're baked in the furnace, that's considered Gemar Malacha. Okay? Rish Lakish Amar, no, that's not done. Another step is required for it to be considered a finished product. You need to galvanize them. I know, this is my, right? Once you you dip it in cold water, that galvanizes. That's considered a finished product. So Rabbi Yehuda actually acknowledged. He says, Lista, because you have this prior history of being involved in these types of endeavors, right? Dealing with weapons and robbing. You're an expert in this topic. So, in fact, I defer to you. Okay? So, Gemar Malacha is only once it's galvanized. So, it seems like Rish Lakish did not refer back to his history, but Rabbi Yehuda did. And that hurt his feelings. Amar, he says to Rabbi Yehuda, who am I honestly? So, what good did you do to me by bringing me into Beis Medrash? He felt bad. Look, he couldn't shake off his past. It's being brought on it's on the table. It's for all to see. It's still there. Hassam Rebbe Karli. When I was back there on the mountains robbing, they called me the Rebbe, the leader. Hacha Rebbe Karli here as well. I'm called the leader. It's all the same thing. I have no gain in the matter. Amar Lei. So he says, what do you mean? You gained tons. Anoilach. I gave you tons. Look, I brought you under the Shechina. So Rabbi Yehuda felt very bad that Rish Lakish was sort of like, it sounded like he wasn't really appreciating this turn of events in his life and all the effort that Rabbi Yechanan invested in him. Cholash Rish Lakish. So because Rabbi Yechanan felt bad, that affected Rish Lakish's health as well. He was punished and he got weaker and weaker. Asoy achse kabachya. So now Rish Lakish's wife, Rabbi Yechanan's sister, came quiet to Rabbi Yechanan. Heal my husband. Amalei, she says, Aseh b'shul banai, or b'ni. Please, heal my husband, daven, that my children should have a father. Amalei says, no, azva yisay mechani echaya. He quoted a pasuk Yirmiyah. Hashem says, I'll take care of the Yisayim. Don't worry, that's not a factor. That's what he deserved, that's what he has to get. I can't, sorry. Aseh b'shul manusi, what about the fact that I'll be a widow? Amalei, again, he quoted that same pasuk. The Almanah should trust me. Hashem is speaking. Bottom line is, he couldn't do anything. And Shimon Lakish, that was his full name, Shimon Lakish, he died. So when he was nifter, Rabbi Yechanan was accustomed to interacting with him and learning, felt terrible. Rabbi Yechanan Masrei Tuva, he was very distressed about it. Amar Rabban, so the Rabbanan were contemplating what to do. Man lezel liyaspi l'daite. Who's volunteering to go and become Rabbi Yechanan's nuchavrusa and put him at ease? Nezel or Rabbi Eliezer ben Padas. Perhaps Rabbi Eliezer will go. The Mechadin Shmaite, because he was a very sharp person in learning, and perhaps he can compensate for Rish Lakish. Oz al Yosef Kames. He went and he sat down in front of Rabbi Yechanan and he listened to him learning. Kol Musa dava Amar Rabbi Yechanan. So every time Rabbi Yechanan said something, a halacha, Rabbi Eliezer had something to say. He responded with a raya in support of Rabbi Yechanan's halacha. Tani them say halacha. I have a right from a brisa to support what you're saying, and he figured this would, satisfy him. This would put him at ease. Homar, so actually, it had the opposite effect. He wanted somebody to challenge him, like Rish Lakish used to. Not somebody that just rubber stamps what he's saying. Omar, he says, Atka bar Lakisha, how could we equate you to Reb Shimon bar Lakish? Look, bar Lakisha, Rish Lakish, Kiava Amina Milsa. Whenever I said something, he would immediately challenge me from all directions. Hava Makshali Esrin Ba'arba Kushiaisa. He would ask me no less than 24 kashas. He would challenge me right and left. Ume Fariknali Esrin Ba'arba Peruki. And that forced me to respond and answer 24 tirutzim. And that would really clarify the matter. This way, it would be clear. It would clarify the halacha. The learning would be as clear as day. You're not doing that. You're just supporting what I'm saying. You're not challenging me. Challenging is what creates clarity. You just bring me a right from a brisa. You don't think I know on my own the shabar kamina that I'm saying well? I don't need you to support me. Have a ka'azal of karamani. So Rabbi Yechanan was very distressed. He was tearing his clothing like a Talmud on account of his Rebbe's death. He considered Rish Lakish like his Rebbe because Rish Lakish added clarity, increased in the level of understanding of the Torah. And he was crying. But Amar, he says, Hey Chad bar Lakish, where are you, Rish Lakish? Hey Chad bar Lakish. And he was yelling until he lost his sanity. Rabbanan David and he passed away. Now let's go back to the story of Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Shimon, who was pursuing the criminals and arresting them, and he did that test on his innards to determine his spiritual standing, and it came back positive. But still, says the Gemara, he wasn't really confident. Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Shimon Adaita, he wasn't fully at ease. He's concerned that perhaps he erred and he arrested an innocent person and he caused him, undeserved punishment. So he wanted to do teshuvah, wanted to daven, ask mechila, and he was makabel yisurim. Unbelievable. Kabel alei yisurim. He invited yisurim, physical hardships, upon himself to account for any possible misdeeds. The way of a tzaddik, unbelievable. He was full of these wounds and all these things started surfacing on his skin, these rashes and whatever. So every evening, they would lay beneath him. They would lay beneath him 60 layers of these felt materials, absorbent materials, to absorb his, excrement, bodily fluids, blood, and pus. But Safar Nagdim to say, and every morning they would draw from beneath him 60 containers of blood, vikiva, and pus. And in the morning, his wife would try to nurture him back to health, and she would make for him 60 shitin mini after 60 different types of dishes containing figs, which would nurture him back to health. Eat it to and he would regain his strength. This was a nightly thing, but still, his wife wouldn't allow him to go visit the Beis Medrash. She was concerned for his health. She would force him to stay at home. So Rabbanan and the Beis Medrash wouldn't overwhelm him with their questions, etc. So she would protect his health and force him to stay at home. But now every evening, Amar he would address his Yisurim and he would call them Achai v'Reya, my friend, my good friends, come, Bayo, come, descend upon me. But in the mornings, Amar he would send them away. He would tell them, Zilu, please depart from me temporarily until tonight, to allow me to learn Torah uninterrupted. One morning, Shamad Visu, his wife overhears him talking to his Yisurim like good friends, please come and go. Amrale, she says to him, I didn't know that you're inviting them. She heard him inviting them and sending them. I didn't know you're the one that's instigating the whole thing. Look all this money I'm spending on you. All the money that I brought from my parents' home, it's all being expended upon your Yisurim project. Imrada, so she rebelled, she left. Azal Beis Nasha, she went back home to her parents. Slika v'aso, so now he was left without any source of income. Slika v'aso anach shitin supunai, Hashem provided for him. Suddenly, these shitin supunai, 60 sailors, Slika v'aso came up from the sea, and Taisa says, brings a medrash. She'amad aleim nachshel shabayam, they encountered this really scary storm. They were about to be sunk. And they made a neder. And then if they are saved, they will donate all this to Rabbi Shimon. And that's what they did. They were saved from their storm, and they came running to supply him with whatever he needed. Shitin Avi, they brought him in 60 slaves to work for him, to help him make all these dishes that he needs. Kinethkiti, Shitin Arnaki. Each one was holding they were holding 60 bags of money, 60 wallets, and they made for him these 60 types of dishes. So basically, he had what he needed, he had his servants, he had his slaves, his cooks, his money, and he would eat them all. One day, Amrullah Labarta, so the wife tells the daughter, Zili Baki Ba'abuch my Kahav, go check out what your father's doing, what's happening with him. What's he doing now? Asra. So the daughter came to visit, Amrullah. So Rabbi Lezer tells her, Zili Imrullah Imech, go tell your mother, Shalanu, our wealth, provided by Hashem on account of my learning Torah, Gadol Mishalahem is even greater, Mishalah, than her wealth. This is never-ending wealth Hashem provides for those who learn Torah. Karei Nafsheni applied himself to pasuk that Hashem provides lechem from afar for those that are committed to Torah. Achal v'shasi ubari. So he ate and he drank and he got healthy. He went out to the Beis Medrash because his wife was not holding him back this time, right? Aisel kamei, so they brought before him shitin, all kinds of shilas, shitim in idam, 60 types of different shilas regarding the dam nida, tarinu, and he purified, he considered it tar, and basically allowed the women who had these shilas to go back home to their husbands. Have a kameranani rabbanon. Rabbanon was sort of challenging this. They were suggesting, look, sakadaitech lesbu chatzafek, how could you be so sure that all these 60 different shilas of dam nida or tar, there isn't even one that's uncertain? I mean, how do you know? Amar Lucy responded, Im Kemoisi, who, if in fact I'm right, Yehu Kulam Zecharim, the subsequent children that the women have now should all be boys. But there's any doubt involved in the status of the blood, Nekeva, Achas B'Neim, there should be at least one Nekeva amongst them. That will be a sign that I was wrong. And in fact, it turned out that he was right. Hayu Kulam Zecharim. All these women subsequently gave birth to boys, Vasikilu, and they gave their children names after Rabbi Lezer Shimon, Al Shmei. They gave him his name. Tanya, Amar Rebbe says like this: come up, look, all these days and years that Rabbi Lezer Shimon was forced to stay home because of his condition, and this was as a result of the fact that the king appointed him as a sheriff, and he went through this whole period of uncertainty, and he had to have the Yisurim. So look how Klal Yisrael was deprived of his clarity, of his authority, of his ability to paskin shailos, and to allow the women to have clarity in their status and go home and have children. Kama period Arabia, how much children? Bitla, Risha Zum Yisrael, this evil kingdom, the Roman kingdom, because of what they did to him, prevented from Klal Yisrael, Kiavaka, Nicha Nafshi. Now when he was at the point of passing away, Amar Lo Ledvisuti, he tells his wife, Yadana with the Rabbanon, I know, I'm fully aware that the Chachamim are not happy with me. The Resiche are alive because they're upset that I was involved in arresting, Yidden. And I'm concerned that they're not going to accord me the proper honor when they bury me, so therefore, let's avoid the whole situation. Don't bury me. Put me to sleep up in the attic, and leave me there, unburied. I don't have any fear. Because of my presence. Let me be and leave me alone. Amar Rab Shmuel Rachmeni, Ishtoili imei Rabbi Yonasan. I have this story. I was told by the mother of Rabbi Yonasan regarding Rabbi Lezer Shimon's non-burial state. So she heard the story from the Ishtoila. This was told to her by the wife, the actual wife, Dvisu, the Rabbi Lezer Shimon. First-hand story. How many years was he sitting up in the attic in that state? It seems to be was some sort of confusion in terms of the actual amount of years, but it was no less than 18 years. No more than 22. So somewhere between 18 and 22, a huge amount of time. I had him lying in the attic. And very often when I used to go up to check on him, I would check his hair to see if it was still fresh. When there was a hair pulled out from him, it would bleed. Like during his lifetime. He was unaffected by death. But one day I saw a worm crawling out of his ears. Right? So I saw the worm out of his ear. Now I was very concerned that perhaps he will start to decompose. But that night I had a dream. He appeared to me in a dream. And he tells me, don't worry, it's nothing. It's just a one-time event. Because it was a punishment. Because one time, during my lifetime, Shami Bizilusa, the Tum Rabban, I overheard somebody speaking in a negative fashion about a Talmud Chacham. And I failed to protest as I should have. Okay, I didn't do a proper protest, and that's my punishment. And some say the reason why it was exactly that day that it happened, maybe that the Talmud Chacham passed away during that day, or maybe this was his yahrzeit. In any case, it was just for that. So he continued lying in the attic, and in fact, he was involved he officiated in Dinei Torah. When two people would come to do a Din Torah, they would stand at the doorway. Omar Mar Milse, Reuben would voice his claim. Omar Milse, Shimon would express his position. And they would leave it up to Rabbi Lezer Shimon to respond as a dayan. Nafa kala miglios milise. This voice calls out from the upper floor, Va'amar, and declared, Ish pliniat chaya, Ish pliniat zaka. Reuben, you're guilty, Shimon is innocent. Asks the Maratz Chias, we know Torah is not in heaven, you can't base halacha on messages coming from the spiritual spheres, Torah's in El Mazeh, right? Leiba Shemaymis. He says, apparently because it was dini mamnis, financial litigation question. So there, the parties involved had full right to submit themselves to any system that they choose, and this system worked for them. So they were able to go with it. So it happens that one day, so the Rebbetzin here was having some sort of disagreement with a neighbor. Amr Allah. So the neighbor responds very cruelly, Tehei Kibala. You know what? She should be like her husband. Never merit burial. Shalil to look for who wasn't buried. So now it became sort of a public spectacle. Amri Rabban figured, okay, it's too much already. It's going a bit too far. Kuli hay vaday lav oirach aro. It's not the Racheretz to have his sort of unburied state publicized in this fashion. And they decided, okay, enough, they have to bury him. Some say this turn of events was due to a different reason. Due to a message received from heaven. Because Rabbi Lezer was the son of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, right? So one night, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai is chazlu b'chelma. Rabbi Shimon, the father, revealed to the Chachamim, revealed himself to the Chacham in a dream. Amr he tells them, why are you holding back my son? I want him to join me in Shamayim and Yeshiva Shamala. Pray the Achas. I have this one bird, Yesh Lebenecha, amongst you, down in Elam Hazeh. You refuse to release him to me. Okay, so that affected a change of policy, and they wanted to bury him. Azul Rabban Lasukebe, Rabban wanted to go and bury him. Lo Yishavku b'nei Achbaraya. So the residents of this town called Achbaraya, which was near where Rabbi Lezer Shimon was lying, they didn't grant them permission. They held him back from burying him. You know why? Because his presence served as a constant protector from mishap. The Chol Shnei Davanayim Rabbi Lezer Shimon Relisei. All these years, Rabbi Lezer was lying there. They never encountered a wild animal in their town. His presence served to protect the whole vicinity. They didn't want to give him up. So what did the Chachamim do? They waited for a day when people are distracted. It was Erev Yom Kippur, have a 3D, and these people were busy, preoccupied. A golden opportunity to quickly, clandestinely bury him. Shad Rabban l'bnei Beiri. So Rabban called to the people from Beiri, which is another nearby town, who apparently were more cooperative. Vasku la'arsei, and they took his bed. Vamtu l'ma'ar davor, they took him to his father's cave. Right, we know Rabbi Lezer Shimon is buried right by Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai Tzion. Right, one side is Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, then you have Rabbi Lezer Shimon nearby. So as per Al Gemara, he was buried right in the same place. Ashkechula achna. Problem is, they encountered this large snake. The hadra ma'arta. So basically, the achna is a snake in a circular fashion with its tail in his mouth. He was blocking the doorway to prevent him from entering and burying Rabbi Lezer. Amrullah, they addressed the snake. Achna, what are you doing? Pische pich, open your mouth, release your tail, make way for us. V'yikanis ben etzel aviv, so that Rabbi Lezer, the son, can enter his father's domain and be buried next to him. Pasachlu, so the snake let them through. Sholach Rebbe l'dar be'ishtes. So now that Rabbi Lezer was buried, Rebbe HaKadosh, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, was looking for a shidduch, and he sent a shadchan he sent a shliach to discuss a possible marriage with the widow of Rabbi Lezer Shimon. Sholchalei, she responded with a no. She says, look, it's not appropriate. Klisha nishtamash b'kodesh, a vessel which was used by holiness, meaning a wife of such a tzaddik, yishtamash b'chol, will not be handed to something which is less holy, meaning she considered her husband to be on a higher level than a Rebbe, and it's not appropriate for me to submit myself to somebody of a lower level. Tamon Amri, over there in Eretz Yisrael, they have a different way, a different mashal for this idea. Ba'asar on that space, on the hook, the Mari base, where the owner, Tala Zaini, hangs up his weapons, Kulva Raya is a shepherd, the lowly shepherd, Kul Tala will hang up his backpack, right? This is meant for higher things. I'm not meant to, it's not a good shidduch. Shalach Los, he responded to her, he didn't give up, he said, look, you need to know the facts. Nihida b'Torah gadol many, true. When it comes to scholarship and Torah, your husband was greater than me. Aval b'masam tovim b'gadol many. When it comes to righteous deeds, which is a very important aspect of our, of our makeup, was he greater than me? So she responded once again, b'Torah migadol v'mchala yidana. Truth is that you just told me something new. I didn't know. I wasn't even aware that he was greater than you in Torah. Now I know. But when it comes to b'masim, when it comes to good deeds, yadana, I know that he was greater than you. The Kabbalah Yisure, I know his whole story. He submitted himself to hardships, daily hardships, the highest form of Yisurim. So he stands much higher than you in all respects. Asks the Gemara, okay, we know about the whole story about the Yisurim, but Torah Mahi, where do we see that he was greater than Rebbe HaKadosh in Torah? We see as follows. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, Rabbi Shimon Karcha, Asaf Sali. So Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, who was Rebbe HaKadosh's father, and Rabbi Shimon Karcha would sit on benches. Yasvi Kamai, in the base medrash, Yasvi Kamai Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Ya'ara. So Rabbi Shimon, and Rebbe, who was Rabbi Shimon Gamliel's son, would sit on the floor, Makshu, Mafarki. They were very active in the Torah discussion. They would ask, they would answer, and they would add much clarity to the discussions. Amri, so the people who were sitting, the Chacham who were sitting on the benches, which denoted a higher, higher status, right? So they said, no, why are we sitting up here and they're sitting down there? We're learning from them. They should be sitting up here. We should. We're drinking their waters. Why are they sitting on the floor? Adus of Sali. So they brought for them some benches as well, askinu, and they, they upgraded them to first class. Now they sat on benches. Amrlen Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. So Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, who was the father of Rebbe, who was just now upgraded, he told him, no, I don't want my son sitting up on the pedestal. Pray the achas. Because he was young and he wasn't, it was sort of an anomaly, right? Something unusual that such a young chacham should be elevated to such a high status. I don't want him sitting up there. I don't want him in full view of the crowds, which can draw ayin hara and harm him. Pray dachas, yeshli benechem. Right, the same lashon we had before, right? I have this bird amongst you. Va'atam evakshim al b'meni, you're going to make me lose him? I don't want him sitting on the bench. Achsur l'Rebbe? Okay. So they acquiesced and they put him back on the floor. So now who was left on the bench? Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon, right? Rabbi Shimon Karcha addressed the people there. He says, look, Rabbi HaKadosh, who had his father vouching for him, protecting him, he's going to live, right? He's going to be protected from Ayin Hara. But Rabbi Lezer, who was a Yasam, because Rabbi Shimon had passed away already at that point, somebody without a father would be susceptible to Misa. He's in full view and unprotected from Ayin Hara. No, that's not fair. Achsur Nami L'Rebbe Elazar Reb Shimon. So they decided to demote him as well, put him on the floor, to basically to protect him from any possible Ayin Hara. Right? Cholosh Daite. He felt bad because Amar, he says, Kachashvisu Lekavasi. You're equating him to me, meaning you're treating me as though I'm the same level, on the same level as Rebbe, right? We're both back on the floor. So what happened? Until that day, Kava Amar Rebbe Milsom, Rebbe would say something. Hava Messiah, Rebbe Lezer would support him. Makan Ve'elach, going forward, Kava Amar Rebbe, Yesh Lahashiv. Whenever Rebbe voiced his input, Amar Lei. So Rabbi Lezer Shimon would tell him, Kach yesh al hashiv. I already know, he preempted him. I know this is what you're going to ask. Zoy Chivascha, this is your answer. Hashtoy kefasnu tshuvois chavilois shein ben mamish, and you're going, you're presenting us with all kinds of arguments, bundles of arguments and responses which have no value, which have no, basically, he set the record straight. He wanted, it to be known that he was of higher caliber, which is important, that he be given the right respect and the right regard, and his words had to carry the right weight, and have the right effect. Right? It wasn't a matter of personal prestige, but within the context of learning, of Torah, it was important that his position be established. So now Rebbe felt bad because of this, the way Rabbi Lezer related to him. So he went and related to his father, who was, as we said, Rabban Shimon Gamliel. Look, this is how Rabbi Lezer is regarding me. Amar Leisi, he says, B'nai, my son, don't worry about it. Al yarelach. Don't feel bad. Because in fact, he stands way higher than you. Right? It's justified. Shu Ari ben Ari, he's a lion, son of a lion. Rabbi Lezer, son of Rabbi Shimon Chai, he's got it all. Va'ata, you, although you're an Ari, you stand very high, like a lion. But Ben Shual, you're the son of a fox, relating to himself. The father was referring to himself as a person of lower stature, right? As a sign of expression of anav, of humility. So bottom line is, we see that Rabbi Lezer Shimon was a notch higher than a Rebbe in terms of Torah. Says the Rebbe, and this fits in very well with Rebbe's statement. Shloisha an v'sanhin. There were three individuals who were immensely humble. Ve'eluein, who are these three? Abba, my own father. Right? In reference to the way he referred to himself as a Shual, Ubnei Beseira. Rashi brings, Bnei Beseira were actually the leaders of Eretz Yisrael. And then when Hillel HaNasi came from, he was not a Nasi yet, he came from Bavel, and they recognized his immense greatness in Torah, they deferred to him. They vacated their position and appointed him as a Nasi. That's a real show of humility. It's all about who can be the greatest leader. It's not about, personals, it's about Hashem. So they were in fact great Anovim. V'Yonasan b'Shol, the son of Shol, his name was Yonasan. Where do we find these, right? Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Hadamar, as we just said, the way he related to himself as a Shol, B'nei Beseira. What happened there? We learned in Psachim, right? The Shivu B'Roish. They appointed Hillel as a leader, Uminu l'Nasi Aleim, and he was going to be the Nasi over them. Yonasan and Shol, what do we find? That he was an Anav, the Kamel David. So although Yonasan was a son of Shaul Hamelech, but he deferred to David. V'atatim l'chal Yisrael, you'll be the king. V'ani elech l'mishneh, I'll be your assistant. So all three expressed very high levels of anav, of humility. Asks the Gemara, why is it considered to their credit? The reason why Yonasan deferred to David, the Chazah, because he saw the Garer Alma Basar David, because the nation was following him. So he was just sort of, recognizing reality. It's not a show of humility, it's just being realistic, right? Bnei Beseira Nami. Same thing with the Bnei Beseira. Look, he was greater than them, and they deferred to him. Bottom line, he was a leader. The Chazah did Lehil Dadaf Minayu. Right? Rashi says, the halachas that were being asked in Beis Medrash, they didn't know, and he did, and they were embarrassed from him, so they deferred to him. You're right, says the Gemara. In those two cases, we don't really see this point, but in the first, we do. In the case of Elo, Rabban Shimon Gamliel, Vadai Anvas and Hava, in that case, certainly it was a pure show of anova, of humility, the fact that he referred to himself as a Shual, in contrast to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, that was truly a show of great anova. Okay, so we had the DAF started with Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yesi, who was appointed a sheriff, just like Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Shimon. His encounter with Eliyahu Navi, their encounter with the Matronisa, who tried to delegitimize their family, and they set her straight. We have the idea of the beauty of Rabbi Yechanan, the fact that it was beyond the reach of Ayin Hara, the whole episode with Rabbi Yechanan Rish Lakish, who did Teshuvah, became a Talmud Chacham. And then back to Reb Shimon, who was Makabel Yisurim, and the whole story about years and years that he was around, and in an unburied state, he passed the halachos, and ultimately was buried next to his father. And we have the idea of the anova exhibited by these chachamim. All the best to you, and Hatzlacha Rabbah.